Dorit Kemsley's multi-million-dollar designer shopping sprees, and her breathtaking $6 million Beverly Hills mansion, now ruthlessly headed to the public auction block due to absolute bankruptcy. But imagine the sheer chaos when, right in the middle of his financial ruin, PK Kemsley's vicious, toxic, and deeply disturbing text messages leak straight from the court records, sending absolute shockwaves through Hollywood. Yes, the dark secrets they tried so desperately to hide are finally out, exposing a twisted reality that has left the entire Bravo community utterly paralyzed. Right now, Dorit stands entirely alone in that cold, unforgiving courtroom, with absolutely no one left in her corner. On one side, there are terrifying allegations of a $100,000 extortion plot, and on the other, a sinister move to cut off the mansion's electricity just to force a surrender. If you thought you'd seen the ugliest side of reality TV drama, think again. Because the leaked evidence we are about to uncover will leave you absolutely speechless. To truly understand how this glamorous Beverly Hills fairy tale mutated into a toxic legal nightmare, we have to pull back the curtain on the grand illusion that Paul PK Kemsley and Dorit Kemsley built over a decade. To the viewers of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, they were the epitome of excessive wealth, private jets, and high fashion. Dorit burst onto the scene draped in head-to-toe designer gear, changing her wardrobe multiple times a day and speaking in an eccentric, self-made accent that screamed old-world sophistication. PK presented himself as a brilliant, wealthy British music manager with endless connections and an unshakable financial foundation. Together, they looked completely untouchable, living a life that most people could only dream of. But behind the glossy cameras and the heavily edited lifestyle, a massive financial thunderstorm was brewing, and the foundation of their entire empire was already rotting from the inside out. The public first started noticing the cracks in the armor when news of massive unpaid taxes and staggering gambling debts began to surface. While Dorit was busy showing off her custom-built closet filled with Hermes Birkin bags and Chanel jewelry, PK was secretly scrambling behind the scenes to handle millions of dollars in mounting liabilities. The pressure was intense, but instead of pulling back on their spending, the couple doubled down on their lavish public image. They needed the world to believe they were thriving, because in Beverly Hills, image is everything. If the image fades, the deals disappear, and the fame vanishes. So they kept spending money they didn't actually have, using new credit lines and loans to cover up old debts, creating a vicious cycle of financial desperation that was bound to explode eventually. That explosion finally happened when their stunning $6 million Beverly Hills mansion was officially placed on the public auction block. The news hit the media like a freight train, exposing the harsh reality that the Kemsleys were completely broke. They had defaulted on their massive mortgage payments, and the bank was no longer willing to play their games. This home, which had been featured in countless television episodes as a symbol of their immense success, was now being taken away by creditors. This massive public humiliation was the final straw that broke the camel's back, destroying whatever fragile piece was left in their marriage. When the money completely ran out, the love quickly followed, and the couple filed for a bitter divorce that instantly turned into an all-out war. Now, as they head deeper into this vicious legal battle, the true horror of their private life has been completely exposed to the world through a series of shocking court filings. PK has gone completely rogue, filing a devastating lawsuit that aims to completely destroy Dorit's reputation and financial standing. In these newly unsealed court documents, PK paints a picture of a woman who is completely detached from reality and utterly consumed by an uncontrollable spending addiction. According to his legal team, while the family was actively facing foreclosure and struggling to put food on the table, Dorit was allegedly sneaking off to high-end boutiques, spending over $1 million on luxury designer items. PK claims that her reckless behavior and refusal to stop spending directly caused the loss of their family home, leaving them in absolute financial ruin. But the most explosive part of this entire lawsuit is the inclusion of the actual text messages exchanged between the couple during their final months together. These leaked messages, which are now a permanent part of the public court record, reveal an incredibly dark, toxic, and manipulative dynamic that nobody saw coming. The texts show a desperate, angry PK demanding that Dorit face the reality of their situation, while Dorit aggressively fires back, demanding massive sums of money to maintain her lifestyle. The language used in these messages is shockingly cruel, filled with insults, threats, and a deep-seated hatred that shows just how toxic their relationship had truly become behind closed doors. One of the most damaging text chains reveals a terrifying confrontation where Dorit allegedly demands a lump sum of $100,000 from PK. According to the court documents, Dorit explicitly threatened that if the money was not deposited into her account immediately, she would go straight to the media with deeply personal and damaging information about PK's private life and business dealings. PK's lawyers are using this specific text message as hard evidence of an extortion plot, arguing that Dorit was actively blackmailing her husband to fund her shopping addiction. The revelation of this message has completely flipped the narrative, turning Dorit from a sympathetic victim of a divorce into a calculated and dangerous adversary in the eyes of the court. However, Dorit is not taking these vicious accusations lying down, and her legal counterattack is just as brutal. Her defense team has filed a series of explosive responses, claiming that PK is a master manipulator who is intentionally twisting the truth to make her look like a villain. Dorit claims that the $100,000 she demanded was not for a shopping spree, but was desperately needed to pay for their children's basic living expenses, school tuition, and medical bills because PK had completely cut her off from all marital funds. She alleges that PK left her completely stranded with no money, forcing her to beg for financial support just to keep the family afloat while he lived a life of luxury in another city. To make matters even worse, Dorit has leveled a truly sinister accusation against PK that has left fans completely horrified. She claims that as a part of a calculated psychological warfare campaign, PK intentionally ordered his associates to cut off the electricity, gas, and internet services at their Beverly Hills mansion. According to Dorit, she and her young children were left sitting in a dark, cold house with no way to communicate, all because PK wanted to terrify her into signing a disadvantageous divorce settlement and forcing her to surrender the property. She describes this move as an act of pure cruelty, proving that PK was willing to weaponize their own children's safety and comfort just to win a legal battle. As this chaotic nightmare lands directly in the courtroom, Dorit Kemsley finds herself facing the judge completely alone. The glamorous friends and supportive cast members who used to surround her on television are nowhere to be found, leaving her to navigate this legal minefield without a single ally by her side. PK has hired a team of ruthless, high-powered attorneys who are determined to strip Dorit of everything she has left, including custody of their children. With the leaked text messages heavily weighting the case against her, Dorit is fighting for her survival, knowing that a single mistake in this courtroom could cost her her freedom, her children, and whatever remains of her shattered reputation. The depths of this courtroom war go far deeper than anyone could have anticipated, as the unsealed evidence shines a harsh light on the calculated strategies used to bring about a total financial collapse. 4 months, the public wondered how a couple pulling in millions from reality television, brand deals, and international business ventures could suddenly lose everything. The answers lie in the forensic accounting reports now attached to the lawsuit, which detail a systematic draining of their joint assets. PK's legal team asserts that the financial ruin was not a sudden accident, but the direct result of hidden accounts and secret transfers. They allege that while Dorit was publicly playing the role of the devoted wife trying to save her family from foreclosure, she was quietly funneling thousands of dollars into private offshore accounts, preparing for the day she would finally leave the marriage. This accusation of financial concealment completely shattered what little trust remained between the two. According to the court documents, when PK discovered these hidden transactions, he immediately froze every single credit card and bank account associated with Dorit's name. This move effectively trapped her in a financial cage, sparking a series of panicked, furious text messages that have now been exposed to the judge. In one particularly brutal exchange from late last year, Dorit realized her cards were declined while attempting to check out at a luxury hotel. The texts show her unleashing a torrent of rage, accusing PK of trying to publicly humiliate her and ruin her career. PK's response was cold and unyielding, stating that he would no longer fund a lifestyle built on lies, especially when the bank was threatening to take away the roof over their children's heads. As the financial dynamic turned entirely toxic, the battleground shifted from luxury boutiques to the safety and well-being of their own home. The allegation that PK deliberately cut off the mansion's utilities to force Dorit into a corner has become one of the most hotly contested points in the entire lawsuit. PK's lawyers fiercely deny this claim, presenting their own set of evidence to the court. They argue that the electricity and gas were not shut off as an act of malicious psychological warfare, but were simply disconnected by the utility companies because the bills had gone unpaid for over 5 consecutive months. According to PK, he had given Dorit direct control of the household funds to manage those specific expenses, but she allegedly chose to prioritize high-end fashion purchases over basic survival needs, leaving the family exposed to utility disconnection. This counterargument turned the narrative back onto Dorit's spending habits, painting her as a mother who put vanity above her family's security. To back up this claim, PK's legal team submitted receipts showing that just days before the lights went out in the Beverly Hills mansion, Dorit had spent tens of thousands of dollars on custom wardrobe pieces for an upcoming red carpet appearance. The contrast presented to the judge was devastating. A massive mansion sitting in complete darkness, while the closet inside was filled with brand-new, unworn designer gowns worth more than an average person's yearly salary. This revelation severely damaged Dorit's standing in the eyes of the court, making it incredibly difficult for her legal team to argue that she was the helpless victim of a cruel financial blockade. Seeing her reputation slip away, Dorit took a massive gamble by filing a countersuit that targeted PK's deeply troubled business past. She alleged that PK had been using their joint LLCs to shield his personal sports management and hospitality debts from his UK creditors. According to her filing, PK had allegedly structured their finances in a way that made Dorit legally liable for his past business failures. She claimed that she was completely unaware of the massive tax liens and judgments trailing behind her husband until the bank officially showed up to seize their home. Dorit argued that she was a victim of marital fraud, claiming that PK had forged her signature on multiple loan documents to secure emergency cash, effectively gambling away their shared future without her consent. The court records show that this defensive move only enraged PK further, leading to an even greater escalation in the viciousness of their private communications. The text messages that follow this filing show a complete breakdown of any remaining civility. PK allegedly sent a barrage of messages warning Dorit that if she continued to look into his business affairs, he would ensure that the public learned the full truth about her own private struggles, threatening to expose confidential medical and personal records to the media. This specific text chain is now being heavily scrutinized by legal experts, as it borders dangerously close to witness intimidation and harassment, giving Dorit's team a crucial piece of leverage in an otherwise losing battle. Amidst this relentless crossfire of accusations, the emotional toll on the family has reached a breaking point. The lawsuit reveals that the custody battle over their 2 young children has become a tool for leverage rather than a discussion about their best interests. PK is currently pushing for sole physical custody, arguing that Dorit's chaotic lifestyle, intense media scrutiny, and volatile financial state make her an unfit primary parent. He claims that her obsession with maintaining a glamorous public image creates an unstable environment for the children. To support this, his team has submitted testimonies from former household staff who claim that the home environment was constantly filled with screaming matches, financial panic, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Now, with the structural integrity of her life completely destroyed, Dorit finds herself walking into the courtroom without the shield of her reality TV fame. The high society friends who once filled her dinner parties have completely distanced themselves, terrified that their own names might get dragged into this highly publicized financial mess. She sits at the defense table alone, watching as a mountain of leaked texts, bank statements, and hostile testimonies are systematically used to dismantle her character. The illusion of perfection has vanished, replaced by the grim reality of a high-stakes legal war where there are no winners, only survivors. The courtroom warfare reached a fever pitch as the legal teams moved into the final, most devastating phase of discovery, the forensic analysis of their digital footprints. While the previous arguments focused heavily on who spent what, the unsealed documents now revealed a highly calculated game of digital cat and mouse. PK's technical experts presented the court with downloaded data caches from multiple encrypted messaging applications, proving that the communication breakdown was not just an emotional fallout, but a strategic campaign designed to manipulate public perception. The records showed that while Dorit was publicly portraying a sense of calm and moving forward on social media, her private communications were filled with frantic directives to her public relations team, detailing exactly how to leak selective parts of the narrative to friendly entertainment blogs to damage PK's business standing before the judge could even rule. This exposure of behind-the-scenes media manipulation completely backfired on Dorit's defense. PK's attorneys argued that her primary concern was never the financial stability of the family or the well-being of the children, but rather the preservation of her highly lucrative brand sponsorships. They presented data showing that every single public statement or emotional post made by Dorit was precisely timed to coincide with major brand campaigns or filming schedules. According to PK's filings, this proved a consistent pattern of behavior, using personal trauma and ongoing litigation as a twisted form of marketing to drive engagement to her lifestyle businesses. The implication was clear and damaging. Dorit was being accused of exploiting her own divorce for financial gain. Faced with these severe allegations, Dorit's legal team shifted their strategy to address the crushing weight of the isolation she was experiencing. In a lengthy, emotionally charged deposition, Dorit detailed the profound abandonment she felt from the very community she helped build. She testified that the moment the true extent of the financial liabilities became public knowledge, the network executives and her fellow cast members pulled back completely. She described a calculated corporate effort to distance the franchise from her ongoing legal drama, leaving her without the critical income stream she relied on to pay her defense lawyers. Dorit argued that PK was fully aware of this corporate alienation and was intentionally dragging out the litigation process to completely drain her remaining resources, knowing she could no longer afford high-powered legal representation. To prove this financial bleeding strategy, Dorit's lawyers submitted a comprehensive log of PK's legal maneuvers over the past 6 months. The documents illustrated a relentless cycle of postponed hearings, last-minute motions, and endless demands for additional financial documentation. Each of these actions required hours of legal work, costing Dorit tens of thousands of dollars in fees just to keep up with the paperwork. Her team argued that this was a classic scorched earth legal tactic used by the wealthier party in a divorce to force a total, unconditional surrender. They begged the judge to order PK to pay for Dorit's outstanding legal bills, claiming that without immediate court intervention, she would be forced to represent herself against a multi-million-dollar legal machine. However, PK's team immediately countered by bringing the focus back to the core asset of the entire dispute, the remaining equity from their shattered empire. With the Beverly Hills mansion already gone, the fight turned to the liquidation of their remaining joint properties, intellectual property rights, and production companies. The lawsuit revealed that PK was demanding a complete freeze on all residual income from past television seasons, arguing that those funds should be held in a secure escrow account to pay off their massive outstanding federal tax liens before either party could touch a single cent. This move was a devastating blow to Dorit, who was counting on those residual checks to maintain her basic living standards and fund her day-to-day legal defense. As the financial net tightened around both parties, the true tragedy of the situation settled over the courtroom. The glamour that had defined their lives for over a decade had completely dissolved, leaving behind a bitter trail of debt, distrust, and public humiliation. The leaked text messages, which began as a shocking inside look into a celebrity breakup, had ultimately exposed the terrifying reality of what happens when a life built entirely on perception collides with actual financial ruin. There were no longer any red carpets, designer showrooms, or adoring fans. There was only a cold, sterile courtroom where two people who once promised to protect each other were now actively trying to ensure each other's absolute destruction. With the final arguments approaching, Dorit Kemsley sat at the defense table, watching the mountain of evidence that would ultimately decide her fate. The realization that she was completely alone had finally set in. The high-powered legal strategy, the media manipulation, and the desperate counter-accusations had all led to this final moment of truth. As the judge prepared to review the final text transcripts and financial reports, the entire entertainment world watched in absolute silence, waiting to see who would survive the final collapse of the Kemsley empire. The shocking downfall of the Kemsley empire has left the entire entertainment world in absolute disbelief, proving once and for all that the glitz and glamour of Beverly Hills is often nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion. What started as a fairy tale of endless wealth, high-end designer labels, and a breathtaking mansion has collapsed into a dark, toxic battlefield of leaked text messages, severe financial ruin, and heartbreaking isolation. As Dorit Kemsley stands entirely alone in that cold courtroom, fighting to save whatever is left of her shattered life, we are left to witness the devastating consequences of prioritizing vanity over reality. Now, the ultimate question rests with you. Who do you think is telling the absolute truth in this devastating legal nightmare? Is PK Kemsley a ruthless, calculating mastermind who intentionally cut off his family's survival resources and weaponized the legal system to force a total surrender? Or is Dorit Kemsley a victim of her own out-of-control spending addiction, hiding behind a mask of high fashion while her family's foundation completely rotted away? Are you Team PK, or do you stand with Team Dorit? Drop your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comment section below. We want to know exactly what you think about these insane leaked receipts. If you want to stay ahead of every single shocking update, unsealed court document, and celebrity exposed before anyone else, make sure to hit that like button right now. Don't forget to subscribe to Celebrity Insider and turn on your post notifications. We're tracking this explosive trial every single step of the way, and you absolutely do not want to miss the shocking twists that are about to drop next. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.